Started out our conversation talking about interrogations and how I got good at it. And the way I get good at it is because I try to figure out what do people tell themselves to rationalize their bad behavior. Because Reed, nobody is the villain in their own life story.
Perry, is it just, I think you have to have a level of psychopathy to just know that, not are they investing their money and they're going to lose it. They're taking out a mortgage on the house and then investing it, which is just, it's basically double jeopardy there where you're getting hit twice. Not even losing your savings.
Well, some of these people lost their houses.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right. They couldn't, Rochelle was paying their mortgages for them as in this form of Ponzi scheme returns, but that money ran out, and Rochelle was living pretty high off the hog at the time, and she was flying back and forth to Vegas to be with Perry and all that. And so Perry gets out of prison and then disappears, just takes off. And again, not my problem. My phone begins to ring from all these victims, most of whom had family members in prison with Perry at one point, and from these little old ladies telling me that they had invested money with a man in federal prison. And I was like, excuse me? Say that again. That seems odd. And
is this a prank call?
Right. So I got two problems on my hands. I have the prove up this case and get a grand jury indictment so I can get an arrest warrant for him. And then I had the where the hell is Perry Griggs problem, because Perry and Rochelle had just taken off after he got out of prison. And he wasn't running from me. I think he was running from these Hawaii prisoners who were also getting out, as their sentences were done. And so I built this case against him, proving that it was all a big Ponzi scheme, talking to co-conspirators. There were some other characters who were kind of funneling investment, who were doing their own investment fraud scheme, but funneling the money to Perry. It was a whole fiasco. Eventually I get a federal grand jury indictment, which comes with an arrest warrant for Perry, and I begin this nationwide manhunt to catch him. One of the tools that I used in that was we had a relationship with a company called Clear Channel, which used to own all the radio stations in the U.S. But what a lot of people don't know is that they're also the largest owner of billboards in the U.S. And Clear Channel agreed to put pictures of Perry and Rochelle Griggs all around America on their electronic billboards, the billboards that change every couple minutes, with my desk phone number on it. And so I remember that summer, my phone was ringing off the hook with these well-meaning people saying, hey, I saw that Perry and Rochelle Griggs driving down the road, and they give me the license plates. I pull it up. It'd be a very nice looking black couple. Perry and Rochelle are white. And so just tons and tons of leads that just kind of went nowhere.
Did they have recognizable qualities, or were they very much
she was a good looking blonde lady. He was a, normal looking white guy with gray hair.
So could lose him in a crowd if it
totally. There was nothing about them that he wasn't 12 feet tall or didn't have a hook nose or anything like that. It was just a normal looking dude. And so I developed a couple leads. One lead was that they were somewhere in Arizona. I'd heard that again and again and again. And another lead was that I heard that he was doing odd jobs for a living and had run out of money, which made sense because when you're just doing the math on the mortgage payments plus what Rochelle was spending, I knew there wasn't a whole lot of Ponzi money left. And the third thing I got, which is pretty late in the investigation, was a phone number. And so I did this sophisticated investigative technique. I Googled the phone number. And the first thing that popped up was a Craigslist ad from Kingman, Arizona. We'll paint your house for cash. Call Rex at this number. I'm like, okay, well, this is Arizona. It's odd jobs. It's Rex, which is a dog's name, not a human name. Yeah. And so sent an undercover agent out there to call Rex to have him paint this motel and who comes walking up but a guy with a bucket of paint and a paintbrush. And it turns out that he was the guy who ran the rooming house for Perry. Grab that guy. They're like, well, that's not him. And then squeeze him. And he tells us that Perry's living in his rooming house with Rochelle. They went over there and arrested them both and brought them to Hawaii. And I got to debrief them for a few days and have them tell me their story.
What was that debrief like?
It's fascinating. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't need it for the case. I wanted it to understand this guy and kind of get in his head and understand how they could do what they do and how he was so good at separating people from their money. Yeah. And he was a master, the best I ever investigated.
Why do you think he was the best you ever investigated?
There was a point when he gets out of prison, he's out of money altogether. They're trying to figure out how to go. What bankrolled their trip is, I think it was in either California or Nevada. He walks into a golf pro shop, strikes up a conversation with the golf pro, walks out with 50 grand of the golf pro's money who wanted to make an investment in something or other, and use that to bankroll their flight into fugitive. This guy was so good at talking you out of your money, and just being able to sit across the table for 8 hours and just kind of pick his brain and talk to him and get the whole story down. And Rochelle in a separate conversation about what she believed and what she was like, and why she was under his spell for so long, because she had no criminal history. Yeah. And it was just fascinating. It was so instructive.
So that was actually a question I was going to ask. So it kind of ties perfect into it. Is that what is needed to make the perfect financial criminal, white collar criminal, whatever it might be? It sounds like I'm giving out a recipe, but it's just curious on this. Would you say it's intelligence? Would you say it's almost a lack of it, where they're just at that medium where they have so much confidence that they could do anything? Like, what do you think that type of makeup for someone like Perry that makes them so unique? Like, what are those aspects?
I think the perfect con man takes the time to understand what's important to you and builds that rapport with you, and then tries to understand where your vulnerabilities are. Are you a guy who knows a lot about finance? Are you a guy who maybe has a kid who's getting ready to go into college? Are you, maybe that's the idea. And if you're worried about finances, maybe that's the angle that he twists to, like, hey, listen, you seem like a really good guy. I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but I feel connected with you. I want to do you a solid. I can invest your money and double that in like just a few weeks in this commodities thing that I do. I've done it for a lot of people. Most of my clients are really, really rich. But just talking to you, I could tell that you're a family man, and I don't have any daughters of my own. I'd really like to be able to help you get your daughter through college. That type of thing, figuring out what's important to you, leveraging that, and monetizing it is what con men do best. The best con men do, at least.
Do you think there's a level of, like, I keep saying psychopathy, but just some type of emotional, like when you usually are in the room with them after, is there ever a sense of remorse, or are they usually like, I did what I had to do? No,
the remorse is that it went bad. They're dreamers, right? Somehow something's going to happen to make this right. When we started out our conversation talking about interrogations and how I got good at it. And the way I get good at it is because I try to figure out, what do people tell themselves to rationalize their bad behavior? Because Reed, nobody is the villain in their own life story, right?